Okay, for this rant, I'm going to read what I have written in my notebook, and then I'm going to reflect, or whatever ends up happening. This is the first rant I wrote down, and I wrote down a long-ass time ago, so I'm not exactly sure when I wrote it. But it was sometime last year, in the first quarter of school. Damn, why didn't I... Okay, yeah, it was before October 2012. That's when it was. It was born out of a talk I was having with myself, not talking to myself, thinking I was thinking to myself, and I told it to some friends on IRC. That's how I chat with my main internet friends, 3 of them, and I got this rant, and I wrote down. What defines a genius? By the way, this is a half a year from now. Oh no, almost a year from before now. So, kind of I was younger. What defines a genius? What makes a genius a genius? What is a genius? Are you a genius if you have extraordinary IQ based on some test? Is a genius defined by how much you know, how fast you learn it, how much you can teach people, how much you can help people? Everyone has their ideals and opinions. Ideas and opinions. Their views and references. The English language only teaches so much about I am not used to reading stuff aloud. The English language only teaches so much about the word genius. Sorry, it was about the word genius, but every human should define the concept of genius for themselves. The concept of genius. This is one of the first situations where I started saying, personal definitions. In most all senses, it refers to vast knowledge and understanding. There are geniuses in almost all fields. People who can answer questions about their topics. People who can teach their field, and for some, a genius must know every field and every answer. Whatever genius you are, your genius should have some effect on yourself and others, and if you are lucky enough, the world. The best form of benefit from being a genius? Help. Or the best form of benefit for the... Wait, did I flip too much? The best form of benefit? Help. Some people help themselves, some help others, some help by solving problems or fixing errors, but the best help is teaching. The best help teaches the receiver to help themselves. Maybe you want to help make more geniuses, but what do you teach people to make them geniuses? To think. To consider, to solve, to understand, to know how to use your brain. Which means geniuses are simply those who think. So when you can combine the two, you get the perfect help. A way to teach the receiver to think as deep thoughts as they can. You, as a genius, might contain the ability to talk to someone about anything and help them solve a problem by tricking them into thinking. Oh God, Pat. No, actually. Now you can copy-paste lectures to mass audiences and write it vague enough and universal enough for receivers to have personal reactions. One way to trick and lure people into learning, thinking, and receiving help is to create a story, to tell a story, and the most important part, to create a character. That's where I get a bit off tangent. Confused? Storytelling is the greatest ability. You can mask lessons and stories and make people think in ways they might not want to think about. You can influence people's decisions. Just what is it that strikes so accurately with the listeners in a story? Characters. Characters in almost every story resemble something. And take any old character from a novel, a person of any sort, and they have a personality, some physical characteristics, and a mind of their own. that the writer created. Think about the most developed human fictional character you know. You might be able to compare them with someone you know in actually real life, or many people. But why? Why is the ability to create a person from thin air such a miraculous ability? Because to make a person, you need to make a brain. Which takes me back to the definition of genius. One who thinks, one who learns, one who teaches. When you think of a genius, who comes to mind? A prodigy, Mozart, or someone recent, Albert Einstein, someone still alive, Stephen Hawking. Wow, is that guy a genius? He has made me rethink key components of the... Oh, I guess I had an idol a year ago. I don't remember. Blah, 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 blah. Why haven't I talked about these geniuses yet? They are by far geniuses of the greatest sort. People who know about the most complex things. People who understand the most complex things. The characteristics of deep space, quantum physics, most people cannot understand the most basic lessons in those fields. However, I think there's one thing here on Earth that may rival or even surpass those theories, those trains of thought, like quantum physics and different universes and space and all this stuff. What is it? The human brain. Well, it can be broken down into simple chemical signals, similar to how the most complex computer program can be broken down into binary code. A major part of our population, even in educated society, does not fully understand the thing that makes us who we are. Our personalities and memories and ethics and morals influence our every reaction, how we interact, how we interpret lessons, and how we make decisions. Some people couldn't accurately guess how they themselves would react to a certain situation. So what does this have to do with making a fictional person in a story? If you can create a character, then that acts just like a person, and use that character to help people, teach them something, or just make them think. Did I not finish it? Oh, I didn't finish it. Well, I'll finish it here on audio. Well, if you can do that, then you just created an actual brain out of nowhere. You just making a character. You just created the most complex thing that people still don't understand. You just created that. You created a brain. Just with a lot of effort or no effort. Here's an example. So, a 5-year-old can, like, in class, can be given a book and can be given paper or whatever and say, okay, kids, write your stories. And a kid can write an actual story. Won't have a lot of writing in it, most likely, but it can have a character in it. It can be a very, very basic character. But here's the thing about characters. Characters can respond to any situation that is given to them. And when you make a character, you're making a slate an equation that can respond to anything. Now, often when you create a character, you don't really think about having them respond to getting punched in the thigh, or tripping and hitting their shoulder, or hearing a noise that sounds like a high-pitched animal, or having meteors falling down on the sky, having a meteor hit their house, having a meteor hit their front lawn, having the exact way they would react to all these different things. But that's what you do, because we all will react slightly differently no matter to any situation, because no situation is exactly the same. I hear a bug over there. Oh, it's my paper. It's just, characters are such incredible things, because here's another thing you can do. I guess I'm gonna do 2 rants in one. Where is that? one rant. I know it's pretty early on. No. No. Where is it? I don't know. Ooh, what's this? Oh, that's something else. Back on topic. Characters are just... Here's what you can do with a character. With this mind you made up. If you don't believe that any character that you make up is a whole human being, well, not human being, a whole intelligent life form that you created that is as alive as you are, and the only reason that someone might think that a character isn't a completely perfect or whatever, is not a full thing, is because in order to have that character respond to something, you need the writer to respond for them and say, oh, this is how they would react to it. Because they know that slate and nobody else does. If anybody else tried to, it'd be their perception of that character. But if you could take that idea that's in the writer's mind and put it into an AI machine, like a futuristic AI machine, and then you took a person's mind, a persona, and put that into another machine, and you talked to these two machines, or you put them in bodies, you could not, I repeat, there is no way that you could tell the difference. Tell which one was something that someone created in their head and which one was created out of sex. How is that not a mindfuck for certain people? People just overlook it. The most complex thing, a thing that we do not understand, and probably will not for a long ass time, we don't understand every single bit about it. I mean, there are people who do understand a shit ton, but it's such a complex thing. A 5-year-old can make a very very powerful writer who can just shit characters in a second, and they're fully made. They just create the most complex things. They create human beings just out of creating them, just thinking. And what's the significance of that? Go back to my first rant. What is a human? What is a person? What is a person, not a human? What is a person? It's an idea. So, you can create ideas so easily. You can create people so easily. If there was a way to turn every character you make up into a walking, breathing person that talks and things, you could create an army of characters that act near the exact same way and have the exact same responses, very similar responses to things. Like, say you're in an oppressed country, and anyone who wants to speak out against the government gets just executed right on the spot, and then everyone else shuts up because they're afraid. If you could just shit out walking, talking people that are just, every one of them is a martyr for intelligence and speaking out, and you just have a line of them, and every time that one walks up and says, I don't agree with you executing that guy because I believe he's right, I believe in what he says, and then that person gets shot, every time that happens, 2 more characters just got shit out, and by the time it took to execute that person. And it would just be an endless wave of people. It would be the most powerful ability in the world. It would just ruin every voting system because you could just create people so easily. Writers would be these people that are just fucking gods that are creating life, and that's what we're doing. Define life. If you define life like I defined a person in the last video, then when you create a character, you're creating an actual life that has the capability to do everything you can do mentally. Is that fucking insane? I don't know how that ties back to geniuses, but yeah, that one got really off topic when I wrote it, and I mixed it up with another rant that I had. But characters, writers, that's why I have respect for them. Because while it's not that difficult to create any old character, it's impressive. It's a thing to think about. That I could create a character that I could create any character I wanted with the right inspiration or whatever. And then if I talk to you in a chat as role-playing as that character, or puppeteering and putting down everything that character would say, which is what I prefer to do, then you would not know, you would not be able to tell it's not a walking person that could come over and hit you in the face or come over and kiss you in the face. Yeah. Characters are fucking awesome. Some people would say that characters are better than people in real life, but those people are lonely. Because what's the difference? The only difference is tangibility. But at some point, I believe that tangibility won't even be an issue. Just look at those people in Japan who have fucking hotels for dating, for people and their dating sim peoples, whatever the hell. Ideas are powerful things. They're fucking